Foreign companies can set up their branch and project offices in India with their own identity for all business purposes. But did you know they can even establish companies with distinct legal identities in the form of wholly owned subsidiaries? Yes, you heard it right. Hi, I am Tushar Bakshi, a startup advisor at Set India Biz, where we provide tax, IPR and compliance services to businesses in India. In this video, we will discuss the process of establishing and incorporating a foreign company subsidiary under the Indian Companies Act of 2013. In the past few years, India has emerged as a preferred and popular destination for foreign companies to expand their business thanks to its growing consumer demand and enhanced ease of doing business. Foreign companies are now eagerly looking forward to start full-fledged companies in India with their own identity for tax and legal purposes, with only the funding assistance coming from the foreign parent. What better way to do so other than opting for a wholly owned subsidiary? In this video, I am going to discuss the complete process and documentation to incorporate a foreign company subsidiary in India. The topics I will cover include: Number 1. Meaning of foreign subsidiary company. Number 2. Requirements for setting up a foreign subsidiary company. Number 3. Documents required for foreign subsidiary company incorporation. And number 4. Foreign subsidiary company incorporation process, and will also give you a little insight into the repatriation and tax benefits for subsidiary companies in India. So let's begin without any delay. Meaning of a foreign company subsidiary. Before we understand the process of foreign subsidiary company incorporation, it is crucial that we know what a subsidiary company really is. A subsidiary company is a company whose majority stakes are held by another company, also called the parent or holding company. It usually carries the name, brand identity or value as the parent company. The main purpose of opening a subsidiary company is, in fact, to expand the business of a parent company with the flexibility of having a separate, localized operational structure. Nevertheless, a subsidiary company receives funding from the parent company itself. If it is wholly owned subsidiary, 100% of its stakes are owned by the parent company. Whereas, if it is partially owned subsidiary, more than 50% of its stakes are held by the parent company. As I explained earlier, parent companies cannot have a minor shareholding or less than 50% shareholding in its own subsidiary. As far as foreign company subsidiaries are concerned, they are subsidiaries of companies incorporated in a foreign country outside India. The investment for such companies come from their foreign parents. Hence, they amount to foreign direct investment or FDI. Let's discuss the FDI limits and routes applicable to foreign company subsidiaries in a bit more detail. FDI limits and routes for foreign subsidiary companies. FDI for foreign company subsidiaries is uniformly allowed under the automatic route for most sectors. However, there is a major exception for countries that share land borders with India. These include Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, China, and Afghanistan. Subsidiaries from these countries require prior approval from the central government for FDI. Remember to check the FDI limits and routes of your sector and your country as per the latest foreign policy before setting up a subsidiary company in India. Moving ahead, checking the FDI limits and routes is not the only requirement which has to be met. There are other requirements which need to be fulfilled as well. Let's dig a little deeper. Requirements for setting up a foreign company subsidiary. Number 1. Minimum shareholder and shareholding. A foreign company subsidiary must have a minimum of 2 shareholders. The majority shareholder in a subsidiary must always be its parent company. This means that in a subsidiary, more than 50% shareholding must be acquired by the parent. However, if the parent's shareholding is 100%, it must appoint 2 Indian residents as its nominee shareholders. Number 2. Minimum directors. A foreign company subsidiary must have at least 2 directors. The maximum number can go up to 15. However, at least one of these directors must be an Indian resident. If you don't know whether the director is an Indian resident, consider his stay in India during the previous financial year. Only if the stay is longer than 120 days, the director will be considered a resident Indian. Number 3. Registered office. A foreign company subsidiary must have its registered office in India. This is necessary from the point of view of registration as well. However, if the company does not have a registered office, it can still be registered with a temporary postal address. Later, within a month after incorporation, the company can change it to a permanent registered address. Number 4. ROC approved name. Usually, a subsidiary company is registered with the name as that of a parent, suffixed by the word India. However, it can take an altogether different name as well. Whatever the name is, it must be approved by the ROC before incorporation. We'll discuss the process of name approval later in this video. Moving ahead with our last and most important requirement, and that is document legalization. The incorporation of a subsidiary company requires the submission of certain supporting documents, which we will discuss later in the video. All these documents have a foreign origin and execution, so they cannot be accepted by Indian authorities unless properly legalized. To legalize the documents, the first thing you must check is its country of origin. If the country of origin belongs to the Commonwealth Group, legalization from public notary in the origin country will be apt. If the country of origin is party to the Hague Convention, legalization could be done through the apostille office. Lastly, if none of these conditions are met, you can go the traditional way and approach the Indian Embassy for document legalization. This completes the requirement for Foreign Subsidiary Company Incorporation in India. After meeting each one of these, your next step will be to draft and prepare the documents. Now, list of documents required for Foreign Subsidiary Companies Incorporation. Documents are extremely crucial for Foreign Subsidiary Company Incorporation. It makes or breaks applications. If your documents are inadequate, inaccurate, or have the slightest of errors, the ROC will not think twice before rejecting your application. So, you should carefully understand the documentation requirement I'm about to discuss now. Holding company documents. The first set of documents belong to the holding company. Since the holding company has already been incorporated in a foreign country, it needs to submit its incorporation documents for subsidiary registration in India. These include: Number 1. Certificate of incorporation. Number 2. Registered address proof in India. Number 3. Memorandum of association. Number 4. Articles of association. And number 5. Shareholding and directors details. There's one more: board resolution and the power of attorney for the Indian authorized representative. You need to remember here that all these documents are originating and being executed in a foreign country. So, all of them must be legalized as per the prescribed procedures. Coming to the next set of documents. Documents of promoters, both Indian and foreign. Promoters of the subsidiary company, both Indian and foreign, have to submit their personal documents. These include: Number 1. Color photo. Number 2. Passport for foreign promoter and Aadhaar for Indians. Number 3. No PAN declaration for foreign promoters and PAN for Indians. Number 4. Consent to act as director in Form DIR-2. And 5th. Digital signature of the authorized Indian representative. So here, the documents of the foreign and NRI promoters have to be legalized in the origin country. Once you have all these documents prepared, drafted, legalized, and ready for submission, you can now begin the process of subsidiary incorporation. Process of Foreign Subsidiary Company Incorporation in India. We will cover each step one by one so that it is easy for you to grasp and understand. Beginning with the first step, documentation. If you have realized the importance of documents by now, you know that your first responsibility before beginning the process is to prepare all the documents and make them ready for submission. And once you are through with this step, the next step would be passing the board resolution. A board resolution passed by the holding company is required to approve the decision of establishing a subsidiary in India. Without this approval, the foreign company will not be able to continue with the process. Since the board resolution is passed in a foreign country, it needs to be legalized immediately. Legalization has yet another purpose, which we will discuss in the next step. Name approval of the subsidiary. A subsidiary can carry the name of its parent company or have an altogether different name. Nevertheless, they need to be approved by the ROC. For this, an application can be filed online on the MCA website. The cost of this application is just ₹1,000. You can propose 2 names per application for approval. Also, the board approval you got legalized in the previous step must be submitted with the form. Upon examining your application and proposed names, the ROC is going to approve the one that's valid. This brings us to the next and most crucial step: filing the application for subsidiary company incorporation. You can access and fill out the application online on the MCA website. Also, all the documents have to be digitally uploaded with the form. For this purpose, all the documents will have to be legalized first. Once the application is complete, submit it with the required application fee, which depends on the authorized capital. Lastly, as the ROC examines your application, it will verify each and every detail submitted with it. Upon successful verification, the ROC will register your company and issue a certificate of incorporation in its name. Now, this certificate will provide a legal identity to the subsidiary in India, distinct from its foreign parent. The process of subsidiary registration is completed here. But before I end this video, I want you to understand a few tax implications for foreign companies' subsidiaries in India. Tax implication and repatriation of profits for foreign subsidiary companies. India follows a progressive tax regime, combining elements of both residential-based and source-based taxation systems. Under the Indian tax regime, resident individuals and businesses are taxed on their income generated within and outside India. However, non-resident individuals and businesses are only taxed for their income generated within India. Since subsidiaries of foreign companies incorporated in India are considered domestic entities for tax purposes, they are taxed on their globally generated income. Now that you know the nature of taxation for subsidiaries in India, let's discuss some of the prominent tax provisions, beginning with the most common one: income tax provisions. As far as subsidiaries are concerned, they are taxed at the usual rate any regular company in India would. The specific tax rate has been reduced over the years to 22%. Additionally, the dividend distribution tax imposed on companies has been abolished completely. The dividends are now just taxed in the hands of the shareholders as their personal income. Moving on to the provisions of transfer pricing, India follows the principle of arm's length introduced by the OECD. According to this principle, transactions between related entities across borders must be done at the same price as those between unrelated entities. This prevents the shifting of profits between a parent and its subsidiary, especially in low-tax jurisdictions like India. For this, the subsidiary company is bound to maintain documents validating that all its cross-border transactions are carried out at market prices. Non-compliance can result in fines and penalties. Coming to the tax provisions on repatriation of profits from India, no withholding tax is levied on dividend paid to foreign shareholders. Dividends are already taxed at the hands of shareholders. However, withholding tax is imposed on repatriation of post-tax profits. The rates may vary for every country based on the Double Tax Avoidance Agreement or DTAA signed with India. As the owner of a parent company incorporating your subsidiary in India, you must be aware of these tax rates to ensure compliance. I hope you now have a clear idea of the crucial tax implications a foreign subsidiary has to face in India. This brings us to the end of our discussion. We have discussed all you need to know about establishing a foreign company subsidiary, from requirements to complete process and documents. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments below or call our startup advisors for free consultations. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, share and subscribe to our channel for more informative content ahead. Click on the notification icon so that whenever we post a new video, you are the first one to get notified. Thank you for watching. Watch our other videos as well.